Are you doing your own public relations and marketing for your indie game? As everyone knows, having a proper PR and marketing plan is crucial to your game's success. We also know that some indies may not have the budget or expertise to invest into PR and marketing. We've seen many indie developers make some easy-to-avoid PR mistakes that have cost them time, money, opportunities, and sadly, even shipping the game itself. To continue off of our series of common game development mistakes videos, in this video, we'll be outlining some common PR mistakes and how you can avoid them. For this video, we asked our friends at Stride PR for some help. They've worked on games like Astroneer and Killer Queen Black, and they also manage PR for PAX. If you want to check them out, we'll have a link to their website in the description. Please note, this is not a sponsored video. We've worked with Stride in the past, so we just thought they'd be the perfect people to ask. We are Ask Gamedev, and these are 8 indie game PR mistakes to avoid. Welcome back. We make videos on how to elevate your game development and inspire others. If after watching this video you want to continue the game dev conversation, check the video description for a link to our Discord server. We're now making fresh Ask Gamedev content on all of the major social networks, so be sure to check us out there too. Let's get into it. Number 1. Sending blanket emails. We all get a lot of spam. Do you read your spam emails? Probably not. So when it comes time to start doing your own PR outreach, don't just send a blanket email. If you want a writer's time, it's a good idea to spend some of your own time writing them a bespoke email. Do some research on who you're sending the email to. Have they covered any game in the past that would indicate that they might be interested in yours? Mention that. Are you a big fan of their content? Mention why. Have you read any of their recent articles? That would be a good mention too. Blanket emails are bad, but they can be even worse when compounding this mistake with the next one on our list. Number 2. Sending outreach to the wrong people. What's getting worse than getting ignored? Getting blocked or blacklisted. Don't send your emails to the wrong people. This could be sending your review pitch to a news editor, or vice versa, like your news pitch to a reviews editor. It could also be something like sending a PC game review pitch to a Nintendo site. If the writer or outlet doesn't cover your type of game, don't reach out. This wastes your time and it could damage your reputation with the outlet. Why take the risk? You never know if you might be working on a game better suited for their outlet down the line. Number 3. Using the wrong terminology. A lot of first-timers get some PR terms mixed up when working with journalists. Let's sort this out right now. When you're dealing with journalists, sometimes in order to entice them to cover you, you might offer them a first break or an exclusive. They sound pretty similar. What's the difference? Well, an exclusive is news for that outlet only. You don't share that info with anyone else, ever. Maybe it's a new trailer, new screenshots, or even a game announcement. Your PR materials will be made exclusively to that single outlet. And that exclusivity doesn't just apply to media outlets. It means your channels too. When pitching exclusives, make sure to only pitch one outlet at a time. A first break is a little different. A first break is news that a particular outlet will be the first to share. After that, the news gets shared with everyone else. A first break is risky because it can annoy the editors who were planning to cover you and didn't get the first break. It's a great tool though if you think using it would push you over the edge in getting a top site to cover you. You might have also heard the term embargo. What's that? Well, an embargo is an agreed-upon date and time between you and your outlets on when your news, previews, or reviews can be shared. Some outlets may not want to cover you if your content has already been covered by someone else. An embargo protects you from that, as it requires all outlets to share the same news at the same time. Number 4. Not vetting your PR partners. Some of you may want to hire an agency to do your PR for you. In fact, many of you probably have already been approached by one. Just like working with a publisher, or anyone who holds the success of your game in their hands for that matter, you have to do your due diligence. Here are a couple of questions to ask about your potential PR partner. Do they have experience? Do the founders or managers have experience in games? What did they do before they started a PR agency? Do the people who will work with you have experience? So not just the founders, but the team that will be working with you on a day-to-day basis. How big is the team? Do they have adequate staffing to satisfy all of their clients? How many games will your PR lead be working on at the same time as your game? What are their previous successes? Check out recent games from their portfolio. See if they can provide you with case studies on how they achieve success for their clients. If they worked on a AAA title, really dig into the work. Many big titles work with multiple agencies whose roles may vary greatly. Were they the agency that wrote a 9-month PR plan and secured huge influencers for the client? Or were they the agency that helped them with something very minor in an obscure market? At what point did they join the project? Did they help build the game's portfolio, or did they come in after it had already achieved a level of success? What about failures? Have they worked on games that didn't reach the developer's goals? Agencies are quick to mention their hits, but dig a little deeper and ask them about some of their misses. Find out why they weren't able to reach their objectives. Ask to be connected to some of these clients to get their opinion. What's the scope of their work? Do you work with media outlets only? Will they work with influencers? Is that a separate service? These are all good things to iron out. Be wary of overcharging, of course, but also be wary of undercharging. If the amount you're paying seems too low, ask yourself, how could they possibly do a good job with only this amount? And lastly, can anyone vouch for them? Do you have friends in the industry that will vouch for them? Will their past clients vouch for them? If they have done well for their clients, they will have no problem connecting you with them for a testimonial. Number 5, not working with your PR partners. Okay, so you've done your due diligence and found the perfect PR partner. You hand them the keys to the game and just set it and forget it, right? Wrong. The worst thing you can do when working with a PR partner is to be hands-off with them. They exist to polish and amplify your messaging. You know your game more than anyone else. You know why it's fun, you know your hooks, and you know what makes it special. Work with your PR partner to make sure that this information is being expressed. The most successful PR campaigns are usually the ones where PR and dev have a very collaborative relationship, where they push each other to be better, to be creative, and to innovate. Number 6, reaching out to PR too late. What does this mean? Does everyone have to hire a PR agency in order to become successful? Of course not. For some devs, it could be cost prohibitive and completely out of the picture. That said though, it doesn't mean agencies are inaccessible, and it never hurts to try and get an opinion on your game. If you start your own studio, do not hesitate to contact anyone in PR when prototyping or spitballing concepts. They may be able to help you avoid working for years on a game that will be difficult to get coverage and/or strong sales for. Number 7, not having a Steam page ready at announcement. If you're announcing your game, that probably means you have some screenshots, key art, and a short trailer ready. Well, that's everything that you need to build a decent-looking Steam page. But why should you? Well, for one, you can use your Steam page to build hype. You can provide updates during development. You can keep in touch with the community in the forums. And you can also use it as a place to display all the awards and accolades collected during development. Was your game an official selection at a show? Did a journalist put your game on a Games We're Looking Most Forward To list? These are things you can be adding to your Steam page. The second and most important reason is wish lists. Having wish list numbers are crucial for tracking your success. Because you're not selling your game yet, a key performance indicator for your game is the amount of times it's been wishlisted. You can also use wishlist numbers to compare how successful your marketing efforts have been. How many wishlist ads did you get after you attended a show? How many after a journalist covered your game? Make sure to track this. It's not just you tracking your success either. Steam uses your wishlist numbers to gauge how popular your title may be at launch. The more popular Steam thinks your game will be, the more impressions your game will get on Steam at launch. There's no magic number, but we've read articles where people say anecdotally that 50,000 wishlists is a good number to have at launch to be able to secure additional promotions. And number 8, not having a call to action to wishlist your game. This one is directly related to number 7. If you have your Steam page set up, make sure that all your marketing drives people to visit it and to wishlist your game. Your mailing list, your assets, your social media posts, and your ads should all be designed to get people to add your game to their wish list. Here are a couple of places we sometimes see devs miss their opportunity to drive people to Steam. In your YouTube videos, have a call to action in the trailer and also have the link readily available in the top line of your description. In your social media profile sections, include the link and CTA right there. If you need character space, use a URL shortener like bit.ly to make room. And at conventions and meetups, have giant signage asking people to wishlist your game on Steam. Consider QR codes or custom shortened URLs to make doing this as convenient for them as possible. Thanks for watching. For more Ask Game Dev, check out this playlist on indie game marketing or this playlist on game development mistakes. Do you have any PR questions? Let us know in the comments.